Hey guys, welcome to tonight's broadcast. I want to talk tonight about stages of the awakening. So I know all gone through a lot of little different stages and synchronicities and that kind of stuff that has came into your life recently as you're going through this stage. So let's break this down and let's get started. So tonight we're going to talk about the dark night of the soul. That's going to be confusion and slowing down to reflect your own behavior. Now, I know it's like super easy to blame someone else, right? Or it's easy to put your own behavior off to or onto someone else, right? We have to start to reflect on ourselves to look into what we're actually doing, right? Because I feel like if we go through life and we're just always putting our own behavior off on anything else, like everyone else, when do we actually learn, right? Especially if you're going to therapy and that kind of stuff. If you're going to therapy and you're just still putting everything else off on everybody else, you're not going to fix or come to a grand solution if you're not actually looking inward at what you're actually doing in the situation, too. So here we have synchronicities, and that is waking up at 3 to 5 a.m. Now, some people call that the witching hour. That does seem to be the time that I wake up. Now, once you start to do mediumship, you have to also understand that there are visiting hours, okay? You have to create boundaries for yourself, or spirit entities, anything at that point are going to come in at any point in your life, right? Or during the day, if you're in the middle of a meeting, and then all of a sudden you have like a spirit come in that's trying to talk to you, you have to have hours that you want to do this, or even allow this to, chatter to go on in your mind. So if you notice that underneath Dark Night of the Soul, I want to come back to it. It's written in red. It says you begin to realize that there is a higher realm. Yes, you do start to realize that because as you're going through this dark night of the soul, and you're starting to realize like, hey, I have to do shadow work. Like I need to start really, if I'm going to start really doing this mindful practice of what I'm saying to myself during the day, what I'm saying to other people as well, like be very mindful in what you're actually saying to other people too. So, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to really have to do this. Like, this is really going to be a thing that I'm going to do. And when I do it, it's going to have to be either all in or don't do it at all. Right. So I started kind of doing this mindful practice, and I created this Zen type, you know, just basically this area behind me. It's a place that I can go and cry. It's a place that I can pray. It's a place that I can put on 80s music and dance around. It's my space, So you have to create such a thing for yourself. Now, it can be even your closet. If you want to go in your closet and journal, then do that. Do whatever makes you feel comfortable, because at this point it's almost like I think people are looking for this grand idea of what your purpose is, or what your you know life path, I guess, should be, and it's not. It's something so simple that I think we overlook it. We think that it's going to be like, rainbows and unicorns, and it's literally just going inward and fixing your childhood traumas and fixing the things that you don't really need at this point in your life. Like things like that just don't even serve you, right? So things that may have happened back in, maybe in your teens or whatever, even let's say before that, like even whenever, say, you're in middle school, right? Well, those are the things that you're going to have to heal. Maybe that time when, you were kind of going through your ugly duckling stage and somebody said that you were ugly, so now you just think you're ugly, that kind of thing. Those are the kind of things that you have to go through and journal, and definitely, you know you have to write it out, or I don't, you may not have to, I have to write things out, as you can see, because I like to see it, and I like to see if it's in some sort of pattern. Am I doing this particular pattern as like, is this a behavior, or where did I get this from, or what character played in my life to make me act this certain way, that kind of thing. I really had to start to pinpoint what my problem was in my dark night of the soul. So practicing mindfulness, not during meditation, that is a daily practice, right? Figure out what you're actually saying to yourself. Do you get up in the morning and instantly start sabotaging yourself? Are you instantly, you know, uh, um, maybe you forgot something, back at home. So you get in the car and you're halfway down the road and you're like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. Okay, well, those words that you just said, stop saying that. Okay, that's where you have to stop. That's where you have to go, gosh, I really do, like, I wouldn't say the things that I say to myself to anybody else. So you have to go, why are you saying it to yourself then? Because then in factuality, are you actually stupid, or did you just forget? Like, did you just happen to put that particular thing in a different area and you just forgot? It's not necessarily that you're stupid, it's just you're human, right? So, verbalizing your problems to yourself, like, you need to talk to your higher self, identify where the problem came from and who the characters are within that trauma. Okay, so if you have this trauma, this childhood trauma that seems to be popping up all the time within your life, right? Figure out who the characters were during that time, right? So, and what you're going to do is you're going to take yourself out of it, out of the equation. You're going to look at you and whoever else was in the equation. Let's say it's your parents, right? Mom and dad. You, mom and dad. You're going to take yourself out of the equation. Look at that little thing, like third party, like, I'm not part of it, but I'm looking at it, right? That's where you're going to see what are the characters that were in that particular trauma, or that thing that was said to you that was so hurtful that it did cripple you, right? You feel like that was kind of like a crippling moment for you, right? At this point, ask yourself, is it actually true? Or were they, mom and dad, talking out of hurt people? They were hurt. They were hurt. So they felt like they could say something to you, but then now it hurts you. And then now you carry it on in this even current time, right? So things that have happened way back then are still a residual energy, a negative energy, a residual negative energy that still resides in you today. So those are the things that you have to figure out what that is, and kind of where you went wrong or where you didn't go wrong, how it's affecting your life currently, because I'm sure, like, something that happened back then, I feel like there's a domino effect. There's going to be this and then cause and effect, da, 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 da. Whether it be relationships or money or whatever, that kind of thing, right? So once you start to verbalize your problems to yourself, and you identify where the problem is coming from, right? So the problem may be coming from your parents, something that your parents said to you. Who are the characters that are within the trauma? Those are your parents. Okay. Excuse me. Again, you may not have had anything to do with that. You were just, what is it? Collateral damage. You were just there, right? But it fucked you up, right? But you're still holding on to it. Okay. That's where, as an adult now, currently, you have to look at it and go back and look at yourself, and as a little girl, and be like, I am so sorry they did that to you. Like, you really have to, like, console yourself at that time, right? So do that, and you can even journal too, and kind of figure out, like, who are the characters within this. It could have even been a marriage. It could have even been like a spouse that you thought it was going to be this particular way, and that spouse set it up for you that way, but then come to find out that person wasn't actually who they made themselves out to be, and it crushed you, right? So that would be that you would have to go back to that time and figure out why it crushed you so bad, or why you put all your eggs in one bucket, or why you felt like you had to have that person, whatever the case may be, right? You have to go back to that time to figure out what little seeds were planted for you to act or behave or be the way you are currently. So, um, okay, so adjust the landscape of your mind. What do you tell yourself daily? Now, I talk a lot on my Snap about this, about self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is horrible. And again, like I was talking earlier, it's the little things that you have conditioned yourself so much. It's just like on repeat. You just say it, right? Oh, I'm so stupid. Oh, I'm so ugly. Oh, I'm so skinny. Oh, I'm so fat. Whatever it is, right? I don't even care. But we've got to be very mindful of what we're saying to ourselves, right? If we're not, we are damaging ourselves too, okay? Subconsciously. I don't I don't think that we mean to do that. I feel like it's just on a subconscious level that maybe part of us is like, oh, we don't really mean that. But then like another part of us is like, well, you really are kind of stupid. It's almost like that little white devil, little red, or white angel, little red devil kind of, thing where they're whispering in your ears. What are you saying to yourself on a daily basis? And you have to figure out what's your rhetoric, what's your verbiage on a daily basis. So now, once you figured that out and you've adjusted your mind and you started to kind of figure out what you want and who you are and that kind of stuff, it's almost like you start to have this strong urge to wake up other humans, right? So now you've already figured it out. You're like, if you just do shadow work and if you just, go back here and you get your Akashic records and you figure out that you've been reincarnated and what your path is, and there's actually aliens, and oh my God, it's like all this stuff starts to happen. You literally, I'll speak for myself. I wanted to stand on the toppest mountain, and I wanted to scream to everybody and just give them these keys. This is what it is right here. It's not being perched up on a pew on Sunday. That's not it. Okay, everything that we do spiritually in these spiritual minded groups and that kind of stuff, you're going to start to feel kind of urged to seek those groups out. Because once you find them and you're like, oh my God, these people actually speak my verbiage, they speak my language, that's when you're like, oh my God, I'm done. This is what I've been looking for this whole time. I've been told or taught religion, religion, religion. Okay, I get that. But really, spirituality has very much religion in it. Religion is just organized by man. Okay, so if you get into spirituality, you can have a beautiful relationship with God, a beautiful relationship with Jesus, with angels, with all this kind of stuff. In religion, they don't teach that. Okay, they teach you sit on the pew, you give your money, you go home. That's what I got out of it. If I just offended somebody, I'm sorry. I was brought up in the church. That's what I got out of it. Anytime that I had questions, I was not answered. That's why now I had to do my own homework and figure out and do the research and look into things. And why were 45 books taken out of the Bible? Little things that I was just like, why did they not tell me this? Why was I not told that? That kind of stuff. So again, when you start to go through dark night of the soul, that is cleansing yourself completely of things that you've been indoctrinated in, things that you have been taught for your entire life, and you just realized that it was all lies. You just realize that. And then then you start to go through this freeing moment where you almost, at first I feel like you're like super angry because you're just like mad, like that your whole life was literally a lie. But then I feel like then you go through this comical thing. It's almost like everything's funny. Like even just humans, the way people act is just funny because now you've broken out of the matrix. Now it's almost like you've enlightened so you can see all the little 3D dense people and what they're doing and who they're manipulating and why they're doing it. And you're just like mind blown. You want to stand on the top mountain and you're just like, you guys, come up here. Like this, you can't make this shit up, right? So that's whenever I started to just like dive into like my gifts and what I was doing. And oh my gosh, I've been doing that for years. I didn't know it was that, you know, just figuring out who I was, you know, and and I and I think I kind of knew, but there wasn't like a label for me, or the label was tainted. It's witchcraft. No, it's actually not. Again, that's a limited belief that that person has, because it's actually not. I actually do think that there is good, and then there's bad. You can dabble in bad, like, modalities and stuff like that. That's sticky stuff. You can dabble in dark energy, or you can dabble in light energy. I would rather dabble in light energy because Jesus did, you know Mary Magdalene did. All There's so many people. The book of Daniel saw visions of God. That's a spiritual medium. When I started to put that together and start to realize that spirituality does have a lot of the same things as religion and that kind of stuff. Very much, if you look through the Bible, same thing. Absolutely great story. You just have to read it all. They don't tell it all to you in your church. They just kind of, oh, we're going to talk about this. I can give your money, go home. you know no, you have to find yourself, find who you are, go through your fuckery of in the closet, go through all your skeletons, figure out who you are. If you did some shitty stuff in your life, that's okay. You're human, you're allowed to do that. Ask for forgiveness. That's all you have to do. That's it. That's all God wants you to do. But don't do that shit again. Try to be mindful. Be mindful about it. Don't do it. Right? If it happens again, whoop, sorry. Look, it's all a practice. Okay. We're all in this little practice. It's like I talk about on my Snap, like universities. I talking about it like this hotel, and we have to graduate and we go up this little, yes, that's what that is. Every time that you graduate, God's God's gonna keep giving you the same lesson over and over and over again until you get it right. So if you start to notice that you're on the same wheel of fuckery, yeah, you're not learning the lesson, And I feel like once you start to realize that, then you're like, oh shit, how do I get off this? This is crazy, that kind of stuff. So the dark night of the soul, the symptoms of awakening, yes, you're gonna do this, up and down, up and down. It's go with it. Okay, that's that release. You have to completely have a release. Get everything out. Everything. You don't want the toxicities anymore. You don't want the dense realities anymore. Okay, you want truth. Seek truth. Seek first the kingdom of God. It's the greatest thing in the world. Once you start to do that, you're just like, okay, I'll be human. That's cool. Whatever God has for me, whatever is in my next step, whatever the next person that comes into my life, whatever. All right, I'll be present, you know? And that's how you figure out, like, who you really are. Be present. Don't be who somebody else told you to be. It's not their storyline. That's not who you are. That's who they are. What if they get killed off? Now you've been living their life. Who are you now? You can't do that. Can't do that. This is your storyline. Okay? Completely. Go through it. It's scary. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. Because you're gonna be, and look, don't think it's gonna happen like, you know what? I'm gonna set a week aside for some shadow work. No, that's not how that happens at all. You could do shadow work on Monday and Tuesday, and by Sunday, and then the next Monday be, yeah, because that's when it needs to release. Your body knows. You can't time it. It's not something you can go, you know what? Yeah, you just do it. Just let your body release. You could be going down I-75, coming back from a lunch date, went shopping with a friend, on the way home, ball. Had nothing to do with my friend, had nothing to do with even the day. My body just needed to release that. I'm like, all right, well, I'm crying now. That's cool. Let it go. Let it go. There's no need to really to hold on to that. Okay? Absolutely not. So, if this resonates with you, please let me know. Hit the bell below. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's Libra Moon 73, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Thanks for watching.